example, let's have a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin versus the US dollar. Okay, so we have a look at Bitcoin. I mean, most of the people I know, they bought Bitcoin when it was up here. And then they wonder why they lost all their money. Despite the fact that we can see actually what happened, there are clues as to what happened and what may have happened. And if you look at this, I mean, this is pre-hype. Nothing's here. We start to see some people begin to accumulate some long Bitcoin positions. Price popped up. We came down here. This one closed above that one. The slingshot was pulled back here, and then we head for the moon. So the beginning of the buy zone is here, okay? And it goes, the bottom of the area of the buy zone goes below the area of accumulation. And this is the only accumulation candle I have, because this is the one that has a small body. And essentially accumulation is, I mean, you have the open of a period, you have the close of a period, you have pause of liquidity here and here above and below price. This is market. Price comes in, the day opens, price is seeking liquidity. It goes up, we find some sellers, we find buyers, sellers, buyers, sellers, buyers, sellers, buyers. Okay, so that's what's happening in candles like this. Okay, and what you don't see is that you don't see how big the orders are to sell here and how big the orders are down here. Okay, so the only thing you can see is you can see the reaction that happens. And in this case, I mean, it went it went to the moon very, very clearly. We'll get all this away here. Okay, and so that is telling us that we had an accumulation, a period of accumulation for 1 month, which was the accumulation of orders to buy Bitcoin. Okay, the accumulation ended. I mean, the feather that broke the camel's back, that price point was the low of the first candle that left the area of accumulation. So you can see that pretty clearly here. This one here, this one closed above this candle here. The slingshot was pulled back to here, and then we headed for the moon. And so the whole area is from the low down to the low of accumulation. Sorry, it doesn't work. Switched off. So right there. Okay. So we can expect price to have a bit of a poke at that area. But also notice here that on the following month, we had a bit of pushing higher, a little bit of pushing lower. And so when I see this, I see, okay, we have a sell zone, sorry, a buy zone that has been established just here. Okay. And so this becomes a price point for us in the future, because the people who didn't get in here, they saw, oh my goodness, I mean, price shot up. The guys that got in back here, I mean, they have thousands of dollars in their accounts now, potentially much more money in their accounts. And so they're a bit like, oh my goodness, I want to take some profit out, whatever. And they're telling their friends, yeah, I want to get in. And so at the beginning of the next month, people get paid, whatever, and they start to buy. Okay, so price feeds down, they get in, and then it pops up. So we have another bullish month. I mean, a really, really bullish month. Okay, and so this becomes a price sensitive area, because this was where the slingshot was pulled back on the second time when price went north. Okay, and here we can see later, I mean, price tested this area almost to the pip, and again we're on the monthly chart, and this was during, I mean, relatively illiquid market. Okay, here's price poked into it, and then we had a major reaction. I mean, this was a handsome trade in and by itself, just this one here. Okay, and then people started to lose faith in Bitcoin, because some people bought here, and so they're getting out of their positions. They're trying to get out of maybe break even, or most people have lost money, and then price starts to kind of re-enter an efficient state of trading, where prices efficiently move higher and they move lower. Okay, and then we have this period of distribution here, and then people just want to get out of the money, get out of the market, and so they sell. Price pokes back into here. There are likely some limits sitting in here waiting. People who didn't get in here thought, if price gets back here, I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. And you saw this here, price poked back into here, and then we started to paint these white candles, which again are just dojis, you know, stuff like that, where the body of the candle is small relative to the size of the candle. And when price starts doing this at a historical area like this one, I mean, you know what's going to happen next. you know what's going to happen next. But luckily, you don't have to guess because you've already made your mind up that you want to buy when this happens. As soon as price comes back into here, then you can start to accumulate some orders to buy Bitcoin. And notice here how we have lower lows. Okay, so here we have divergence. We have a lot of stop hunts going on between these 2 months here, and then we start to close higher and higher and higher. Once price makes its way out of this box, then you know exactly what happened during this while price was poked into this area of demand, and price heads for the moon once again. Okay, and this candle here did not close below that one. This one did not close below that one, so we don't really have any reference points. These here, we don't have any reference for this here, and so you can't really use that. You have to. There has to be very, very clear. What we're looking for essentially is we're looking for a change in state in the market where you have a period of agreement, and then you have a shorter period of disagreement where you have spikes higher and lower. And the way you separate the two is by looking at the closes like we had here. We had this one closed above the highs of that one. We had agreement for a month, massive disagreement, massive disagreement, massive disagreement. And so these lows here, this becomes a price point to watch in the future. And this is where price closed. Okay, but you have to really be very disciplined when identifying these and not forcing them to happen. Okay, so when we saw this here, but price did not close outside the range, so there's nothing here, so price went deeper. And if you look up in here, you'll probably find the exact same pattern happening within the wick of this candle just here. Okay, we have this here, this candle closed above this candle, and the slingshot, I was going to use this one here so I don't have too many lines, was pulled back to here. So that's a reference point. This one gets close. This one gets to it. We go to it. You go a little bit deeper. So there's buying in here. We have demand around here, and we know we have demand because the slingshot was pulled back, and then we left like a freight train. Then price came back. We went a little bit deeper. We grabbed maybe the second and a third pancake, and then we headed out. We went north. And this looks like a tiny candle. This is a monthly chart. This is huge. I mean, this is a difference in from the low to the high. That's 7,200 to 10,000. That's $3,000 difference between the low of this candle and the high of this candle. There's a lot of potential for profit there. Okay, and then price, then you move it down, you move it lower. Each time price goes deeper and deeper, you have to move the beginning of the buy zone, where you have to move it. Okay, and once price goes too deep, well, then there are no pancakes left, and you have to look for new pancakes or new demand. If we mark off the low here, I don't know what's in here, but we'll have a look on the smaller time frame and see if we can see something, a pattern that emerged here. Okay, so here we have a couple. Let's use a line instead. We have one here. We have this one here. I mean, this one gapped higher. Okay, it gapped higher, telling us that there's huge interest on buying. We have, I mean, the flows are very, very clearly bullish when you're gapping higher like this. Look how we gapped. But here the slingshot was pulled back, and that was it. It didn't go any deeper than that. And this becomes a reference point in the future. Okay, I mean, let's have a look at this one here, just so we're not cherry picking. This is a nice close below this area of distribution. We move it to the high. And this is pretty close where price went to there. We found there's probably a micro area of supply or the beginning of a sell zone somewhere up in here that we can't see. There's a small gap between the close and the open of this candle. So there's probably a small gap that was filled here, and then we distributed just below the close of the gap, and then price cut away. And this is likely what price is reacting at just here. Okay, so if we were to look at this now, notice that price, we left here, and we managed to move above this high here. So if we go back a little bit and look, we say, where do we have some nice strong departures, leaving areas of accumulation? An accumulation because we're buying. You can see we have one. We've got one there. We've got one right there. So that would be a price sensitive area in the future. below we have, these are all related. You see the bodies of these within the range of the previous. All these are related. This one here is the one that leaves. So I'll go like that. So we have another one here. Okay, so we have a price sensitive area, price sensitive area. Okay, so if we have a look on the daily chart, just for fun, you can see the same thing happening all over. Yeah, you can see here, a white candle. I'll go zoom in. So we had distribution. Slingshot was pulled back to there. That's where price went to, and then we left. Okay. We have another one above. This one closed below the previous here. And this is where price had a short pause on its way up here. Okay, so it's really fascinating. I hope you guys can see how powerful this is. It's so clearly not rocket science, but it's absolutely paying attention to a lot of detail that I think a lot of people just skim over. I mean, they look at that and they think, ooh, you know, maybe they don't. I think most people are not registering what's going on, and a really keen eye for a bit of detail, and then you're in the money very quickly. Let's have a look at this one here. Here we had, this is just a really nice example how, let me remove all these areas here. Let me zoom in. Okay, so we have price rallied. We started to paint accumulation candles, price cut away. Okay, so this is an area that's interesting. Below. Okay, it leaves, we start to move sideways, we accumulate a little bit more, we gap down into this area of demand. So we actually move deeper into this plate of pancakes, like that. And then we fly up, we race north. Okay, and so this, the low of this candle, becomes the beginning, the new beginning of the buy zone for this area of demand. And the reason this is important is because, I mean, why would you buy at the top edge of this? Why would you take a pancake? Why would you stick your fork in the, like 2 centimeters above the top pancake in a plate? I mean, there's no pancake there. You have to put your fork deeper into the plate in order to grab the first pancake. And this pancake has been taken, and the one below it has, and one below that has. So the next pancake is down here. And this is exactly where price comes to. Okay. Yeah, so let's, we've been going on for like 47 minutes, and I thought maybe if you guys fancy, we can kind of open it up to some questions, and if there's some stuff that you want to discuss a little bit, I think that'd be a really good time to do that. Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, mate. How are you doing?
Good.
Super cool. Great session.
Yeah, I was wondering if anyone has any comments or questions or any, maybe this stuff you've seen before and you've been maybe wondering about it and you want to share that experience. I mean, I'd be really pleased to hear from any of you guys here today.
Yeah, so what I'll do, mate, is I'll unmute our fellow philosophers. If they've got any questions, or if they've got a chart they might want to look at or something like that, maybe we can do a bit of that. Just 1 second, we've got quite a few people on. I don't know why it's not unmuting. You should be unmute. I should be muting people, but it doesn't.
I can see a couple of people are unmuted.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah. If someone.
Hello.
Brother Rustum. That's Brother Rustum.
Hello. What is going on?
What I have no idea. No idea.
No, I think Mark, there's some technical issue here. I was trying to send questions and stuff, but I couldn't. So I'm sure it's the same for a lot of the others.
All right.
I can see nothing.
Okay. Yeah, it's a bit weird that we're not getting many messages through. That's kind of strange.
I'll chat. Okay, here's the chat, and I can see the chat. Okay. I can see the chat.
Oh my God. Something wrong.
That's what's on telly.
Yeah. Somewhere in China.
Japan.
Yeah, so we've got some people unmuted. If you want to ask a question, yeah, go for it. We'll have a little bit of free love while this is occurring, and then we'll have to shut it down because I'm still
Yeah.
You notice that makes a lot of
where does Bitcoin go now?
Where's it going now? Well, let's have a look. That's a really good question.
It's going back to the moon.
It is again.
Oh,
But if you look at this,
what have I done? Hang on.
there we are.
Is that a bit better? Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Because if you look here, I mean, price has reacted at the beginning of the buy zone, which is here. We have some demand down here. We have also a buy zone down here. So we've reacted there, and we've clearly really onboarded a lot of buying. And so if you look at this, and you can see that we're probably going to see people line up some long positions once we come down to these areas here, for the reasons that we discussed on the on these previous charts. When we left here, we went above this high, and this high is important because we went below this low. And we actually removed maybe some micro demand down in here, and so it looks like we're headed higher. You can also see we have one of these candles. You can see how it's kind of the body is just the right size in relation to the rest of the candle. We want to see a really nice push high, which we haven't seen yet. So there's probably going to be something going on at this price level here. So there are lots of things going on. This is the weekly chart. If you go to the daily chart, it'll probably make a little bit more sense. Yeah, I mean, you can see super clearly here what's going on. We have, I'll just refine this. We have this candle here. We have sideways movement. We have accumulation, then price left. We closed above all of this, okay? And price could only return back to this level here. So we will certainly see some people start to buy once they come back down here. But notice again, we have a parent-child relationship. We have the parent and we have the child. So this is a reaction to this, okay? And so this is what we have going on there. So we had that candle pattern we like to see. This one closed above. The beginning of the buy zone is here, but price didn't even go there. We just stopped at the upper edge of this accumulation. And this is, eardrums are gone. Okay, there we are. And so we have that. And also notice here that price came up, slingshot was pulled back, then we left. So we mark off that area there. So we probably got something going on there. And so the smaller and smaller the time frame, the more detail that emerges. But also notice here that, I mean, price has been here. We've tested it once. What does that mean? Well, that means that in the next pancake is here for this one. And we have a look here, and you can see that we have, let's have a look at these. This candle closed above. So we want to maybe focus here and below. Okay, so price needs to come below this low before we are going to maybe start to attract more buyers at this price point. But once price kind of comes down here and reacts, you don't want to buy it again when it comes down there. If it's coming down towards it again, it means it's seeking liquidity. So volatility is actually, it's a function of liquidity. No liquidity, high volatility, because price has to travel very, very far to find willing buyers and sellers. And so low volatility, the opposite. So we have this one here. This is interesting. Almost tested. So price will probably come in here and have a bounce. Once this is removed, we're going to probably move down into here. And notice here we have the parent-child relationship. So we have a parent. Sorry, we have the parent down here, which the child reacted very beautifully to it. And so the demand or the buy zone for this area of demand is at the lows just here. Okay, so you don't want to, if these fail, you don't want to buy at a price any more expensive than, well, I can't even read that, this point here. Okay, because this is just a nice pattern as well. It's also a very important low. Okay, so there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of potential for this to go high. And if we look at maybe places where price will stop, so let's say you get into one of these areas, where do you want to get out of the trade? Notice that, yeah, there's no real supply up here, is there? I mean, none of these, okay, this one, sorry, this one here managed to move below here, trade below here, this area here. So there's something up here. And I'm taking this because the slingshot was pulled back to here, and this is where price reacted. So this is an interesting area for us. Okay, the higher this candle. This one went down. See, this one was not removed. This one was removed by this one. So we mark that off. We can see the test here. Sorry, the slingshot on this candle is right there. Let's mark that off to the high. It's a tiny little area, but it held. I mean, notice that we have distribution. We have the candle that closed outside it. The slingshot was pulled back there. Where did price come to? I mean, look at that. It's unbelievable. It's like, I mean, it knocks my socks off every time I see this. It's so accurate. It's such an accurate way to trade. I think if you would have had your stop just above there, you'd probably got stopped out on the spread or something. I mean, that's how tight the stop would be on that, I think. But notice here we have, I mean, this one closed below that. Okay, and so the high of this one just here, price has already been up to this one. So the next one is this one, and price is kind of sitting on that area there. But this one's not very attractive because there's a lot of trading around here. And this, I mean, technically speaking, the beginning of the sell zone is here. And so I'd want to sell higher for this. I don't want to sell higher. I'd want to look higher. And you can see, I mean, price pulled back to this level, so you don't want to trade that again. So the beginning of the sell zone is the highest high of this. And then we have this thing up here. So we have a little area here. This is not anything that I'd be keen to look at because when we left here, we didn't really do anything. We just fed into this area of demand and nothing really happens. So if we go like that, that's another area that we might have a bounce at. I'm thinking we'll probably move through it and move up to this area here. And yeah, and the whole process goes on and on and on and on. And you can do it on whatever time frame you like. You can even do it on the 5-minute chart. You can do the exact same. It's a little bit more volatile. I mean, on the smaller time frames, you're more vulnerable to the noise that the market experiences. So just like normal market mechanics, you'll see this more on the smaller time frames. But on the hourly, 4-hour, daily, weekly, monthly, I think you'll find that you'll get a lot more accuracy with this. Cool. Yes, yeah, so, I mean, those are my thoughts there, I think.